digitalization, employment, jobs, service centers, space. Well, that's a lot. But I'm not here to give a nerve wracking speech. I am not here to daunt you all with some fancy terminology. I am a 13-year-old boy that's here to entertain each and every one of you with a splash of music, with a note, with a beat, with a rhythm, and of course, some articulation. Now, Plato once said, music is moral law. It gives soul to the universe. It gives wings to the mind. It gives flight to imagination and charm and gaiety to life and to everything. However, as every age ends and a new era begins with a revolution, music is standing on a cliff that will forever change the way we know it. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow music enthusiasts. My name is Divit, and today I will be speaking on the topic on how the digital landscape has revolutionized the way we experience life, particularly the way we experience music. Before I begin, I would like to ask you all a very simple question. Can you imagine your life without technology? Ma'am, can you imagine your life without technology? Ma'am, can you imagine your life without technology? No, right? If you reach out to an artist out there and ask them the same question, you'll get a no. No one can imagine their life without technology. Technology is etched into our lives. In the modern world, it is omnipresent in all walks of life, whether that is work, whether that is learning, or whether that is leisure. Particularly in music, artists have started using technology to record music. Labels and brands have started to run data analysis tools and surveys across the internet to understand their audience better. And of course, young persons such as me have started to use technology to learn music. Or at the very least, of course, listen to it on applications such as Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music. I discovered that we could create blends with one another. We could follow one another. And as we mingled with the music world, it would open new avenues for us. Now, if a few of you would like to take a step higher, if you would like to raise your bar, you would like to unlock your musical potential, there are multiple of applications on the App Store as well as the Play Store that will help you learn a plethora of instruments with just a few clicks. Well, I started learning the piano when I was just 4 years old and have continued doing so ever since. Every year, I'd play exercises, I'd play pieces, I'd play scales, which is basically fancy terminology for notes crammed up together, right? And I'd give an exam for the same. When I'd give an exam, I'd pass and then I'd move on to a new grade. I'd learn harder pieces, harder songs, and then give an exam for it again. It's more like traditional schooling. However, I noticed one of my friends do something truly remarkable. He was a beginner that wished to learn the keyboard with no prior experience, with just 1 week of practice. This is what he was able to play. Now, for those of you who are thinking that he's eaten up the notes and there's no articulation and where are the rests, well, he's just a beginner with 1 week of practice, 1 hour a day. Now, with 5 weeks of practice, this is what he sounds like today. Well, of course, it's still far from perfection, but with just 5 weeks of practice, a beginner was able to learn the notes on a staff, was able to harness the power of music through the digital symphony. Now, for those of you sitting in the back and still believe that music is not for everyone and we can't do it, I'll tell you all that not only can you learn music through the digital technology, each and every one of you present here today, you, and even you, can compose your music. You can make your own music through the digital technology. And I will show the power and the simplicity of music through a very short composition. So, for those of you that know me, I know only how to play the keyboard, right? However, when we talk about creating a musical composition or a piece, it involves multiple stages and not only piano, but other instruments as well. So I'm going to start off with a very simple tune on the keyboard. I'm going to record it on my laptop. We're going to upload it onto a software, and we're going to see the magic of the digital symphony. So something as simple as can turn into actual music, right? So I've already pre-recorded this onto my system, just so that you know this is what it sounds like. Right? So it's the same thing, it's loaded and it's pre-recorded. Now, I'm going to upload it onto a software that is going to understand the keys, that's going to understand the tabs, right? And once that is done, this is what it sounds like. Right? Once we have done that, we can easily work with the software. So this is what the software looks like, right? Yeah. We moved from a digital symphony to a digital dissonance, but sure. So this is the software that we have. Anyways, now of course we have this loaded on the screen. I don't want you focusing on those fancy tech gizmos thing. The tabs, the blue light color blue tabs that you see, those are the notes that I played on the keyboard, right? Now what this software does is it converts the audio music into sheet music. What do you mean by sheet music? Well, it's just a fancy term for a sheet of paper that a musician reads that contains the notes, the rest, or the way the music has to be played. Right? Once that is done, well, I could be satisfied with it, or I could say that, yeah, that's great. But I want to create a symphony out of it. How do I do that? Well, I convert this into an XML file. For those of you can see that extension over there, it's just like a PPT or a PDF, but it is a music understanding staff notation file. I am going to save it onto my computer and load it onto another software. So I already did this to save time. And you can see that this is the notation. Just a second. Right? This is the notation that the piano that I played on the top. Now, if I want to add other instruments, I can simply click on the side. I go to instruments, I click add, and I add an instrument. For example, I want to add the cello. So we can say cello street drums and we click yes. Right? So just to save time, I've added the flute over here. It's basic notation. The C, C, C is getting repeated. For those of you that know music, it's basically the simplest scale that you can learn, which is the bass root of music. So playing the note C, D, E, F, G, going on till C, and then coming back is the C major scale without any of those black notes that you see on the piano. Now, well, when I played that chord progression, I've added C, 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 D, C, E, and that's the flute part. Now, I've added the drum set as well. Of course, the notation for the drum set is a little different, but then you have to learn that eventually. And it is not something that's very hard. YouTube tutorials online can help you do so. Now, once that is done, I have this. Now maybe I could add a few notes of the cello as well. Let's say I want to add this note over here. Let's get that. So I'm going to play it from the start, and you're going to see how something as simple as turns into actual music. So that is something really short, something really sweet. Of course, with more dedication, more time, you can improvise upon the same. But I cannot do that right now. But yeah, that's all. In conclusion, I would just like to say that as we approach a world that's going to run rocket taxis to space soon, I believe there are multiple billionaires that are planning to do so. And AI bots are going to take over the world, and we're going to see a robot apocalypse. Why can't we invest in simple skills such as music? It is the easiest, most simplistic time to do so. It is right in your pockets. Give it a try. Thank you all for joining me today.